Hey viewers, welcome to African Tales by Affy. Please kindly click the subscribe button to get notified for more amazing stories. The air inside the grand mansion was so quiet, one could hear the ticking of the gold-trimmed clock in the hallway. It was a cold morning, but not because of the weather. The cold came from the way Mr. Adewale glared at his daughter, Lottie, across the long dining table. "Why must you always embarrass this family?" he said sharply, slamming his palm against the polished wood. Lottie blinked but kept her back straight. "I only wanted to talk about helping people. The company has the money, why can't we do more for the poor?" Her younger brother, Nathan, smirked from his chair, swirling orange juice in a crystal glass. "Helping people? That's not business, that's a hobby," he said, laughing. "Father's right. You don't understand real work." Lottie's cheeks burned, but she clenched her fists beneath the table. "It's not a hobby when lives are involved, Nathan. I've seen what our factories are doing. People are sick, underpaid." "Silence," her father barked. "I didn't raise you to be soft. A true heir takes what they want. They don't waste time crying over workers." Lottie looked at him with sad eyes. "Then maybe you didn't raise me at all." The words hung in the air like thunder. Mr. Honeywell, their family's longtime lawyer, shifted uncomfortably beside a large envelope. He cleared his throat. "I think now might be a good time to go over the will." Mr. Adewale waved his hand. "No need. Nathan is the one who will carry the family name. Lottie can have whatever is left after he takes charge." Mr. Honeywell adjusted his glasses. "Actually, sir, there's a small matter. An amendment was made to the will." Nathan looked up, confused. "What amendment?" The lawyer opened the envelope carefully and pulled out a single sheet of paper with delicate handwriting. "This was written by your late wife, Mrs. Adewale. Before her passing, she added a clause. It says, if my daughter is deemed unworthy by her father, she shall take full control of the family business as the majority shareholder." Silence exploded like a bomb. Mr. Adewale stood up so quickly that his chair toppled over. "What? That's impossible." Mr. Honeywell nodded solemnly. "It's legally valid, sir. Signed and witnessed. You just declared Lottie unworthy in front of all of us. That fulfills the condition." Nathan's glass slipped from his fingers and shattered on the floor. Lottie stared at the paper, stunned. Her mother had believed in her, even when no one else did. Mr. Adewale pointed a trembling finger at her. "You planned this. You tricked us." "I didn't even know about it," Lottie said softly. "But maybe she knew I would need it one day." Nathan stood up. "You don't deserve it. You don't know how to run a company." "I know how to lead with kindness," Lottie replied. "And that's more than either of you taught me." As the room filled with whispers from shocked staff members peeking in, Lottie stood. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "I may not have been the child you wanted, but I will be the leader this company needs." With that, she turned and walked out of the dining room, leaving her furious father and stunned brother behind. As she walked toward her late mother's garden, where bright flowers bloomed in the morning light, Lottie whispered, "Thank you, Mama. I won't waste this chance." Far behind her, Mr. Adewale sank into his chair, defeated. And Nathan clenched his fists, eyes full of anger, already plotting what to do next. But Lottie had no time to worry about their rage. She had a company to heal, and a legacy to build. Lottie walked through the tall glass doors of Adewale Industries with her heart beating like a talking drum. Everything felt different now. The guards at the gate, who used to barely glance at her, now stood straighter and nodded with deep respect. Workers paused their conversations as she passed, whispering behind her back. Some looked at her with hope. Others? With doubt. She took the elevator up to the top floor, her reflection staring back at her in the shining metal walls. She wasn't here just to sit in a big chair. She was here to change things. The doors opened with a soft ding. Waiting for her was a group of suited board members, some old, some young, all looking at her as if she were a puzzle they didn't know how to solve. Miss Lottie, one of the older men greeted, forcing a smile. Or should we say, Madam Chairwoman now? She gave a polite smile. Just Lottie is fine. They led her into the large conference room, where her father used to hold meetings. At the head of the table, a grand leather chair sat like a throne. Lottie took a deep breath and sat down. A younger board member leaned over and whispered to another, "Let's see how long this one lasts." She heard it. But she didn't flinch. "Before we begin," Lottie said, her voice calm, "I want to hear from the employees. Not the ones in this room, but the people downstairs, the cleaners, the secretaries, the factory workers." The room froze. "What?" someone gasped. Madam Chair, a gray-haired man scoffed, "That's not how we operate here. We don't consult janitors for corporate decisions." Lottie raised her eyebrow. "Then maybe that's the first thing we'll change." There was a long, awkward silence. After the meeting, Lottie left the boardroom and walked the halls alone, peeking into offices and greeting staff members. Many were surprised. Some didn't even know the new boss's name yet. In the staff break room, a soft voice greeted her. "You're not what I expected." Lottie turned and saw an older woman wiping a table. She had kind eyes and a tired smile. Her name tag read, Mary. Lottie smiled. "And what did you expect?" "Someone who would walk past me like I was invisible," Mary replied, chuckling. "But you stopped to say hello." "That's rare." Lottie sat beside her. "You've worked here long?" "Long enough to see things go wrong. People fired for telling the truth. Managers stealing money, and no one saying a word." Lottie leaned closer. "Mary, would you tell me what you've seen?" The janitor looked around, then nodded. "Yes. But only if you promise not to fire me for it." Lottie held out her pinky finger, smiling. "I promise." That night, Lottie stayed late in her new office, reading the files Mary had shown her. False promotions, missing funds, unfair dismissals. It was worse than she imagined. Suddenly, the door burst open. It was Nathan. His face was red with fury. "You've been spying on me, haven't you? Lottie stood slowly. What are you talking about? I saw you talking to Mary. She's a cleaner. And now the board is asking questions about my department. You think you can come in here and play detective? I'm not playing, Lottie said firmly. And this isn't about you, Nathan. It's about fixing what's broken. You're ruining everything. Nathan shouted. The staff fear you, the board laughs at you, and guess what? I still have friends in this company, friends who will never follow you. Lottie stepped closer. Then they're not friends worth keeping. I'm not here to be feared or praised. I'm here because this company needs a heart. And I won't stop until I find it. Nathan's face twisted with anger. Fine. You want a war, Lottie? You've got one. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard a picture frame fell. Lottie bent down to pick it up. It was a photo of her mother, smiling warmly. Don't worry, Mama, she whispered. I won't back down. Not now. Far away in his office, Nathan sat with his arms crossed, plotting his next move. And Lottie? She stayed late into the night, preparing for the storm that was coming. Because this wasn't just about power. This was about truth. And truth, Lottie believed, would always win in the end. It was a quiet morning, but Lottie knew trouble was brewing. She sat at her desk, sipping lukewarm tea, when Mr. Honeywell walked in looking serious. He held a brown envelope in his hand and placed it carefully on her desk. I think you should see this, he said softly. Lottie opened the envelope and pulled out a stack of printed photos and emails. Her eyes widened. They were documents showing her name signed on contracts she'd never seen, authorizing huge money transfers. I didn't do this, she gasped. Honeywell nodded. I know. But someone's trying to make it look like you did. Lottie stared at the papers, her hands trembling. Nathan. The lawyer looked nervous. It's possible. We're investigating. But if this gets out before we can prove the truth, the board might vote you out. Just then, her office door flew open again. This time, it was one of the board members, Mr. Henshaw, red in the face and holding his phone. Lottie, he shouted. Care to explain this? He held up the phone, showing a photo of her with Mary in the break room. The caption read, Chairwoman relies on janitor's gossip to run company? Lottie's heart dropped. That photo was taken without my knowledge, she said firmly. And Mary is not gossip. She's a witness. She's someone who actually cares about this place. But Mr. Henshaw wasn't listening. He waved the phone. You are turning this company into a circus. And now, there are rumors of missing funds? Fake contracts? What's next? I didn't sign those contracts, she said, trying to stay calm. They were forged. Prove it, he snapped. Because if you can't, the board will have no choice but to vote for a new chairperson. And you'll be out before the end of the week. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Lottie sank into her chair. This was exactly what Nathan wanted. Meanwhile, across the building, Nathan was smirking in his office, tapping his fingers on his desk like a villain in a storybook. "She should have just stayed quiet," he muttered. "Now she'll see what real power looks like." Just then, Mary walked in, holding a clipboard. "I heard what's happening," she said quietly. Lottie looked up. "They're trying to destroy me, Mary. I don't even know how to fight back." Mary sat down beside her and took her hand. "Then don't fight their way. Fight your way. With truth and heart. Remember what you told me when we met?" Lottie wiped her eyes. "That I was going to bring back the company's heart." "Exactly," Mary smiled. "So don't lose yours." Lottie stood up, her shoulders straighter now. "We need evidence. Real proof. If Nathan forged my signature, there'll be a trail. Emails, security footage, anything." Mary nodded. "I know someone in the mailroom. He's seen Nathan hanging around the printing room late at night. He might help." That evening, while most workers went home, Lottie and Mary met a shy young man named Jide, who worked in the mailroom. His eyes were big with nerves. "I don't want trouble," he whispered. "But I did see Mr. Nathan printing papers that looked official. He said not to tell anyone. Do you remember when?" Lottie asked gently. "3 nights ago," Jide said. "Around 9 p.m. That was the exact time the fake contracts were stamped." "Thank you, Jide," Lottie said, her voice full of hope. She rushed to the security room with Mr. Honeywell, and together they searched the footage from that night. There it was, clear as day. Nathan, alone in the print room, feeding forged documents into the copier. Honeywell shook his head. "We've got him." Lottie smiled through tears. "We've really got him." But just as they were about to leave, Honeywell paused. "Be careful, Lottie. This is the moment where villains grow dangerous." "I'm not afraid," she whispered. "Not anymore." The next morning, she called an emergency board meeting. The members arrived with grim expressions. Some already had doubts. Others were preparing to vote her out. But Lottie stood tall at the front of the room. "I've been accused of stealing," she began. "Accused of lying. And yes, someone tried to make it look like I did. But I have proof, security footage, witnesses, and documents, all pointing to the real traitor." She tapped the projector, and the screen came to life with the image of Nathan in the print room. Gasps filled the room. Nathan, who had just entered the boardroom, froze in place. "You," he sputtered. "I trusted you, Nathan," Lottie said, her voice shaking with emotion. "But you were too busy fighting for power to see what really matters." The board turned toward Nathan with cold, disappointed eyes. Mr. Henshaw cleared his throat. "We'll reconvene shortly, but I think we all know what needs to happen next." As the members filed out, Lottie sat down in her chair, breathing deeply. She had survived the storm. But she knew the journey wasn't over. Not yet. Hello tribe, thank you for watching today's video. Would you want to know what happened between Lottie and the father? Alright, let's find out in part 2. Please remember to hit the like button, share this to your friends and family as well as subscribe to see you on the next one. Bye.